Hello, everyone. My name is Charles Crawshaw, making this legacy video at the age of 60. I made it to the 60th year on this planet, and this legacy video is dedicated to everyone attending my funeral one day. So I can celebrate a gifted life. So from the beginning, I was born in September 1963 to my parents, Anthony Felix Harbord Crawshaw and Schumann Ng, but when she got married, Schumann Crawshaw. And my mother is Malaysian Chinese, and my father is English. And they met in Sandakan, Malaysia, where my father was a lawyer and my mother was a teacher. And they got married in Sandakan as a result of mum getting pregnant with me. And they weren't married. And then my father, being English, said, oh, we better do the right thing. And they got married in January 1963, and I got born in September 1963. So I was born in the year of the rabbit, water rabbit. Hello, all rabbits out there. I have to say I love the Chinese zodiac. My mom was a year of the dog, and my father was a year of the goat. Goats are sophisticated and generous, and dogs are loyal. So yeah, wonderful mom and dad, did a great job. And so I'm blessed. I had a fantastic childhood. And in fact, right now in their generation, I want to say hello to my dear Auntie Anna and Uncle Rodney, Auntie Anna is my mom's sister, and Uncle Rodney is her husband. And they're still alive and well. So I want to say thank you to your contribution to my life, because I certainly have some very fond memories of our families interacting. So hello to Ronald and Annie, who are Auntie Anna and Uncle Rodney's children. They're alive and well as well. And then also a shout out to my dear Auntie Laurel, who was my father's sister. And Auntie Laurel was married to Uncle Bill. And right now, Auntie Laurel is still alive and well in England. And again, thank you very much, Auntie Laura, and Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill, mom and dad are up in heaven, or up there somewhere, up in the universe. And yes, I have fond memories of Auntie Laurel and Uncle Bill. Why? Because bless their hearts, Auntie Laurel and Uncle Bill sold their house in Maidstone, England, and retired to a boat, a yacht. Uncle Bill was in the Navy, and so they built a boat, a 60-foot ketch called Farewell. And so our family holidays, age 10, 11, 12, 13, etc., was spent on the yacht around the Mediterranean. It was, again, a blessed childhood for those family memories. I remember Tunisia, I remember Corsica. Was it Corsica? No, not Corsica. Sicily. And I remember the Greek islands. So yeah, I love sailing. So Auntie Laurel, thanks so much for your contribution to my life in that respect. Was living the dream, as they say. Highly recommend everyone to consider the possibility of sailing at one stage of your life as something to do on your bucket list. So when mum got pregnant with me, and my father being lovely English, he said, oh, we better get Charles a British passport, so we better fly you over and have you get born in the United Kingdom, because they were both in Sandakan. So mum's never been on a plane, so they jumped on the plane, flew to Great Yarmouth, where my father's mum and dad were, and I was born in Great Yarmouth in September 1963. Then mum, dad, and me jumped on a plane back to Sandakan, and we were in Sandakan until 19 1967, so 63 to 67, 4 years. Those 4 years. In 1967, the Malaysian government took a stand about white people, and so Dad was a white person, so had to leave. And so he actually went to Perth, Western Australia for 6 months without his young family. My brother was born, by the way, a year and a half later in Sandakan. Didn't fly back to the UK, in Sandakan, because Dad realized that two dual nationality was better than one. Anyway, so then, so Dad flew to Western Australia, Perth, Western Australia, as a lawyer, and got a job there, and flew his young family to Perth, Western Australia. And that's where I started my education. I went to Current primary school or kindergarten. And I don't have much memories of, I was 4 till 7 years old. So all I remember about Perth, Western Australia back in those days was shark spotting planes. I remembered horrendous sandstorms on the beach. I remember iguanas, these lizards that you can get. And I remember Rosalind Dancer, my first girlfriend. Well, pretty blonde girl in my school. And for some reason, I remembered her name, and we never did anything. But, Rosalind Dancer, hello, if you're there and you see this message, I remember you. So then in 1971, Dad was looking through the papers and he saw the dream job. Would you like to be a magistrate? British, Dad got a degree in law in Oxford University. So Dad applied for a job as a magistrate in Hong Kong in 1971, and he got it. So we all flew to Hong Kong in 1971. So 1971 to 1976, I went to schools in Hong Kong on Kowloon side. Hong Kong Island, Kowloon side, and the mainland is where we lived. And so I went to Beacon Hill Primary School, and then King George V School for 2 years, until in 1976, my father said to me, Charles, where do you want to go to school? Do you want to stay in Hong Kong, or do you want to go to boarding school? Do you want to go to England or Australia? And my lovely half-sister, my mother was a single mother when Dad married her. That's another story. So my lovely sister, Angela, or Afong, at the time when I was reading, gave me these books about a boy named Jennings, which is all about boarding schools. So I was reading these books in Hong Kong, and the books talks about tuck boxes and midnight feasts. And as a 13-year-old boy, no, that was enough for me. And so I said, Dad, I'd like to go to England to go to boarding school. And Dad goes, oh, jolly good, son, you'll go to mine. So we did. And so off we went to boarding school. Wow, boarding school. 1976 to 1981, from the age of 13 to the age of 18, at a place called GRESHAMS in Holt, Norfolk, which is about 100 miles north of London. And one of the most extraordinary things, the Hong Kong government, because Dad was a magistrate in Hong Kong for 20 years, the Hong Kong government paid for overseas education and airfares. So I was an international jet setter at the age of 13, flying from Hong Kong to London 3 times a year, which is already a spectacular thing to do, I guess. And again, what a blessed childhood I had. So, I was really grateful to Mom and Dad for that opportunity. And so hello to all the Greshamians watching right now, and all the friends I made there. Look, boarding school, what an exciting and great place. I'll tell you more about that in the later on. But yeah, it was lovely in terms of I went to Fuffield, or we had houses in the boarding school, and I was in Fuffield. I played a rugby union, cross country running. Oh, love that. English countryside during the winter period was a lovely place to run, and I loved it. It's just smelling that beautiful British countryside smells. I'll never forget it. And I've always loved running, and I still do on my bouncy boots, but that's another story. What else about boarding school? Look, it was majority of boys. We had a girls' house open up, and but yeah, it was a lovely time, and I guess from the age of 13 to 18, at the age of 16, I was when I introduced to alcohol. So I'll talk about that later in terms of what alcohol was. But certainly, you can imagine, well, alcohol, fun, 16-year-old boys going to the the off-license bottle shop, whatever you want to call it, to buy drinks at 16, sneakily pretending to be 18, going down to the school woods and getting drunk on the weekends. Crazy, fun, anyway, and off we go from there. So that was my boarding school times. But then again, growing up in Hong Kong, because all my holidays was in Hong Kong. Hello, Hong Kongers. Again, drinking at the age of 16 onwards. In fact, on my 16th birthday in Hong Kong, I remember it was an extraordinary day because Dad said, yeah, have some friends over. So Mum and Dad were in the bedroom in the apartment in Hong Kong, and us were having disco music, dancing, lights, etc. And one case of beer between 20 of us or something like that. And well, it was nice to get us young children a little tipsy. And what happened on that particular day of my 16th birthday, I'll never forget, was that the music was going, it was all happy, etc. And then suddenly, Mum comes out of the bedroom, turns on the light, and says, "Okay, everyone stop, everyone get out." And then the lights are on, the music has stopped, and Mum comes up to me and goes, Charles, what are you doing?" And I was on the sofa kissing Lynn Gardner, a blonde girl, snogging, I think we used to call it in those days, but I was kissing her. And Mum said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What's going on?" And I found out later that what had happened was that some of the boys on the balcony had said, after a couple of drinks, started throwing things down from the 6th floor downstairs of this apartment building down to the ground, and the phone went off. And Mum picked up the phone, and obviously from her point of view, oh my God, we're going to get trouble, police going to come around. So that's why she sent everyone out. Well, I didn't know this, but I was so humiliated and so embarrassed that I ran away from home that night. Went and stayed with Peter Luke. Hello, Peter. Went and stayed with Peter Luke for the night. And my poor old brother, he was there, and he stayed downstairs. He was embarrassed and upset and, oh my God, crazy. But I remember many years later, I phoned up Mum and apologized because I was so embarrassed and humiliated. I really put Mum on the wrong basket, if that makes sense. And I remember after that incident, going back to boarding school, I punished Mum by, instead of saying, "Dear Mum and Dad," on my letters home, I said, "Dear Dad and Mum," emphasizing, "Mum, you embarrassed me, you humiliated me." But I, thank God, before Mum passed away, I apologized for being silly and ridiculous and not understanding why Mum embarrassed me and humiliated me until I found out, etc., about the pots and things being, little bits of something's being thrown down from the balcony. Mum didn't want to get upset. Well, Mum didn't want the police to turn up because Dad was a magistrate. Oh my God, it would have been terrible. So yeah, Mum was protecting Dad, and Mum was just basically alcohol. Off we go, the mischief of alcohol. So yeah, So there's a story that yeah, I'm so glad that I they call it completing with my mum about that. So 1981, I did my A levels. It's the 18-year-old exams. And I got feeble results. In fact, I had to redo my exams. So I went to college. So I failed. Not failed, but B's and C's, I think, and not enough for universities. My father said later that I wasn't very academic. But anyway, I went to, for 1 year, stayed in Norwich and redid my A levels and scraped into North East London Polytechnic, where I decided to do systems engineering. So it was embarking in London. So went down to London, did 1 year systems engineering. But again, the only reason I chose system engineering was some guy from system engineering background came to GRESHAMS, our boarding school, and said, oh, the world needs systems engineers. So that's why I did it. But again, it just wasn't me. And so I did 1 year of systems engineering, and then I partnered up with a dear friend of mine, Billy Cheeseman. Hello, Billy, if you're still alive. And Cheeseman and Crawshaw Interior Decorators was our company. Billy had connections, and so we painted and decorated houses and units in London. And that was good fun. We made good money, and the money was good enough for us to go to America twice and Europe. Yeah, it was wonderful, you know, just self-employed. And, you know, I love painting. I love decorating. It was before and after. It was lovely. So that was good fun. And then I got a job with Birch Fine Fish in London. And that was fun as well. Fresh fish. Had to get up early. Billingsgate Market is where the fish arrives in London. And Birch Fine Fish was basically a fish distribution company for all the top restaurants in London. So we used to sort the fish out for the orders in the morning, and then I'd go and deliver them to all these lovely restaurants around London. So again, that was good fun. And then, I guess the moment happens in 1988. So I've been in London for 7 years, but in 1988, never forget it. I was living in Earl's Court, and it was a cold, miserable winter's night. What's new in England? Seasonally affected disorder, SAD syndrome. Anyway, I'll never forget this, what happened. So I'm sitting watching Top of the Pops, which is a music program in England. And it's basically all the top chart hits. And anyway, the top chart hit at the time that I'll never forget was Men at Work. I come from a land down under. I come from a land down under. Women glow and men thunder. And I remember the video, and the video was full of sunshine. And I remember looking at the video, and I remember my memories. It wasn't strong, but I do remember Australia, 1964 to 1971. I remember the sunshine. And what am I doing in London? I'm going back to Australia, I said. So I saved up money, and then in 1988, off I flew with my friend Nick. Hello, Nick, if you're watching. And flew via America, via Hawaii, and landed in Sydney in 1988. And I'll never forget it. I landed in Sydney, so none of our family had been to Sydney, and I landed in the afternoon, and I remember we were going to stay at Waverton, which is North Sydney. And I remember we got on a train to go across the famous Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I remember going across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. It was a beautiful day. Sydney Harbour was blue. The sun was shining beautifully. There was the Sydney Opera House. And I remember saying to myself, this is home. And so, yeah, so there was the beginning of my life in Sydney. Wow, Sydney, Australia. Let's see, 1988, I would have been 25. And so, yeah, look, Sydney, Australia was fantastic. And at the time, actually, in terms of relationships, I was in a relationship with childhood sweetheart, Cathy Wong. Hello, Cathy, Tracy, Lisa. And anyway, I was in Australia, and Cathy and I grew up in Hong Kong, and we started a relationship, an international relationship in Hong Kong. And then I went to England, and she went back to New Zealand, and then she came to England for her Europe trip, and we were in a relationship there, and living in London. And then she came back to New Zealand, and I came to Sydney, and then she eventually came to Sydney. And so I was in a relationship with Cathy for 4 years. It was a lovely relationship. However, alcohol and youthfulness and thinking that I was unlovable, after 4 years, Cathy asked me, she said, "Charles, when are you going to grow up?" Which I realize now was the code for, when are you going to ask me to marry you? And I said, I got upset, and we separated. And look, I've already apologized to Cathy for that, because I'm now clear that for 4 years of our relationship, Cathy completely loved me, and I never believed her. I always thought that she didn't like it when I got drunk or smoked marijuana or something like that, and kissed other girls, and even had 3 one-night stands. Shocking. And Cathy forgave me all those times. So yeah, I apologized to Cathy, and again, got complete with Cathy, which was extraordinary, because I remember completing with her on the phone, saying I'm such a righteous idiot in our 4-year relationship where I never let her love in. And then, of all things, a few years later, I was in Sydney, and she was in Sydney, and she was walking along the street with her 2 sisters from wherever they came from, but Lisa and Tracy. And Cathy goes, "I can't believe I'm seeing you today." And we hadn't seen each other since that phone call. I said, "What do you mean? I'm getting married tomorrow." So I took her into the pub, the Burdekin, and I bought them all champagne, and I wished her a fantastic wedding, and I wished her a fantastic life. And it was just a beautiful moment of completion, and I'll never forget that, Cathy. And I cherish that moment completely, because I was clear that you really loved me, and I missed out, as they say. So yes, in 1988, arrived in Sydney, and Chris Hibbett, thanks so much, Chris. Chris was a lovely friend that I met, an Englishman, and lived with him in Mill Street in North Sydney, McMahon's Point, in fact. And I got a job with a scientific company called Selby Annex, and my job was internal sales for Olympus microscopes. So I was talking to a lot of professors and doctors and all those institutions which needed microscopes, Olympus microscopes, fantastic microscopes. Crazy. And look, it was fun, and I had a nice income, etc. And one of the things that I learned was that Selby Annex used to have a social club, but it didn't have one at the time. So I said, "Oh, let's start it up again." So I was the social club president for the Selby Annex. And as a young man, quite a lot of the men and women in the organization were older than this young man. They suddenly wondered, what on earth are we doing going on boat parties and golfing weekends? Well, golfing weekends, fine. But I started organizing all these parties for Selby Annex. And my boss in the microscope department was fielding more calls about how many cases of beer and what ferry do we want, etc., than microscope inquiries. But anyway, the final straw for Selby Annex, for Charles Crawshaw as the social club president for Selby Annex, was that I organized a boat party, and we collected all the money in cash to pay for the boat and pay for the alcohol, and the cash went missing. And so they said to Charles, "Where's the money?" And I wasn't on top of that. And so look, we did several functions to pay that back. I since found out that it was a staff member who stole the cash takings. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, they said no more Selby Annex Social Club. So, but myself and these young friends of mine in the organization were all around the same age. We said, well, let's keep going, but let's not use the Selby Annex. Let's start a new club. So the Chilli Club was born. And I was the social club president of the Chilli Club. But why was it called the Chilli Club? Some members liked eating chilies. I love chilies. Always teased my mom and said, Mom, did you eat chilies when you were pregnant with me? Because I love them. No, I did not. Love you, Mom. And anyway, so the Chilli Club was born. And so we organized, the phrase that we came up with was your friends, my friends, our friends, we party hard together. As you can hear, there's alcohol involved. And so I used to work out the budgets of how much would it cost for everyone to spend $20 to include food, canoe hire, alcohol, or whatever it was, right? I'd come up with a budget, then I'd share the budget with all the people who wanted to come, and then I'd go and blow the money on the food and the alcohol and the canoes, etc., for the canoe weekends, or the sailing weekends, or the parachuting weekends, and off we go from there. And the phrase that we had was, your friends, my friends, our friends, we party hard together. So if you thought that Charles was funny, you go, okay, good. Who do you know? Who do you know? What do you do? Generally the social club that we built on. And so we developed a good following. And I used to write newsletters, snail mail, before email started turning up. And yeah, it was wonderful. I had great fun. And because I was from England, I enjoyed organizing all these things. Canoeing games were fantastic. Why? Because we choose a river in New South Wales and we hire the boats, and then we drive half the cars to the top of the river, half the cars to the bottom of the rivers, and then we spent 2 days going slowly downstream with food and alcohol. It was wonderful. And I remember, we had all sorts of people turning up, including a couple of English backpackers once, and they said, cool, blimey, or I've eaten better on this than I do at home. I love cooking as well, so chilies were in there. But yeah, that was great. The Chilli Club was a lovely organization, and it was that there was a breakdown in the Chilli Club organization that had me discover a whole new world, thanks to Chris Wake. Yeah, hello, Chris. Extraordinary. So in 1993, I'd split up with Cathy. And at the beginning of the year. And I organized for the Chilli Club, I organized a black tie ball at the Sydney Town Hall. I think I charged $25, something like that. This was cheap. For black tie ball with a fashion show and alcohol and dance music. Hello, Gary Hardwick. Gary Hardwick, I believe, was a DJ or may have been a DJ. But anyway, I remember Gary, dear friend of mine from GRESHAMS, attended the party. And I remember Gary laughing when the fashion show turned up. Well, guess who the models were? Oh, what's Charles doing up there? 5'2" man running down the runway going, oh my God, model, strike a pose. It was fun, but it stressed me out. Whoa. Because I didn't realize at the time, but even though I was a Chilli Club president, when we had our Chilli Club meetings, basically I was in control. I wouldn't listen to anyone. And I said, we're going to do a black tie ball at the Sydney Town Hall. No, we're not ready. We're not big enough. We can't afford it. Oh, watch me. Let's do it. So I did it. But it was stressful as anything. It was really freaky. So anyway, I remember the Chilli Club we had a membership, and one of the memberships was a form that you had to fill in. What do you want the Chilli Club to do? And if we're going to build a Chilli Club house, what would you like? What kind of view would you like? Would you like a water view? Would you like a country view, etc.? It was great. It was a great little exercise about what people wanted for their clubhouse. But I remember a guy called Chris Wakefield was one of the members. And sure, he filled in the forms and I got the forms. We also wrote, if you ever need any support or help in the Chilli Club, because I really believe in it or something, give me a call. So I didn't really know Chris that well. So I phoned him up and he said, oh, come down to the office. So I went to his office in North Sydney and we had a chat and he told me about some ideas that he had about developing the membership. And he said, what are you doing tonight? I said, no, nothing. He goes, oh, why don't you come down to the, can't remember what hotel it was, but it was in Circular Quay. There's an introduction to a course called the Landmark Forum, and you might like it. So I turned up at 7 o'clock, curious as anything. They talked in the big room, and then we went to a small room, and there were some questions, etc. And I was inspired. One of the things I noticed about the 200 people in the room was who'd done the course was the kind of a natural smile. And, I ran the social club, the Chilli Club. So we all have badges, name badges on. And hello, Charles, how are you? And I was like, wow, how, it was lovely energy. And so I said, right, I'm going to do the course. So I did the Landmark Forum in October 1993. And I remember if you do register for the course, you get a phone call before the course starts and say, what do you want to get out of the course? I said to the person, I said, no, I've never done the course. I said, and then so the person said, well, what's important to you? And I said, well, the Chilli Club. I said, what do you mean? He says, what do you mean? What is it? The Chilli Club is a social club that I started and I just stuck. I don't know what's going on with the Chilli Club. I don't believe that people like it as much as I should believe in it, etc. Okay, well, that's a good thing to take into the course. So, and then the person goes, anything else? I said, I don't know. I've never done this course. And she goes, well, are you in a relationship? I said, no. All right, shut that on. I said, shut that on. So anyway, so I did the course, 3 days and 1 night. And I'm sitting in the room for 3 days and 1 night. And I'll never forget it because then, you look, for 3 days and 1 night, you look at your life from 20 points of view. Ontology, the study of being. Look at your life from this point of view. And a lot of who you are today is based in your childhood. And based in your childhood, I said, whoa, wow, okay. What happened? What do you make it mean? What happened? What do you make it mean? Something's wrong around here. Who did you become? Something's wrong around here. Who did you become? So the first moment happened to be the age of 0 and 5. So between the ages of 0 and 5, I remember mine when I was 1.5 years old. Something's wrong around here. My brother was born. He was put in my cot for the first time. I hit my brother for the first time. Mummy hit me for the first time. And in that moment, Mummy doesn't love me. Mummy loves it. So unfortunately, I apologize to Felix. I really completely Felix, but I bullied him. I resented him and bullied him from the age of 1.5. My father said later on, oh, Charles, that's called sibling rivalry. But anyway, so I became unlovable, but I became independent. Mom said she could leave me alone for 10 hours. I didn't need people, didn't need kids, anything. So I became independent and unlovable. That's my identity. The second moment happens between the age of 8 and 15. Something's wrong around here and you don't belong. Generally speaking, it's a separation from your parents. I'll never forget mine was easy to remember. Like I said, I was in Hong Kong and I flew from Hong Kong to London to go to boarding school. And the first time I flew by myself was the second term in 1976. And Mom and Dad organized a company to meet me at Victoria train station. And you'll see the woman with a big yellow badge and you'll never miss her. She'll be by the clock and she'll put you on the train to go to school. And 1976, on that particular flight, it was fog. And so we were transferred from Heathrow Airport to Gatwick Airport. And in those days, there was no mobile phone. And anyway, so the person put me on a train and I got all the way to Victoria by myself. But the woman who was supposed to meet me at Victoria train station was late by half an hour because, she was listening to the phones and the airplanes and all that kind of stuff. So she was late by half an hour. Can I help you, son? Stop crying, son. We need to talk to you. Anyway, the woman was late. But in that moment, again, I'm unlovable. That's why Mom and Dad sent me to boarding school. That's what I made it mean, even though I'd chosen it. But I became popular. I decided to become popular. Okay, here comes the class clown. Here comes Charles. Oh my God, Charles, you're so funny. Charlie, they call me Charlie. Hello, Charlie, you're so great. You're so funny. Yeah. You're just trying to make me feel good. So anyway, but I was popular. That's why, I started the social club, the Chilli Club. So that was my second moment. And then the last moment happens between the age of 18 and 22. Something's wrong around here and you're on your own. generally speaking, it's a separation from your parents. You need to grow up. You're on your own. Again, I'll never forget mine. Mine was crazy. 5 of us boarding school boys, they said, right, we're going to Europe for a holiday. And so we got our train passes. And we went on the ferry, got drunk. And then the first night, Susie and the Banshees, a punk band, was playing in town, an English band. So we said, we'll go and see Susie and the Banshees. We don't need to stay in a backpackers. We'll sleep in the Vondel Park. We didn't know in 1981 that the Vondel Park was recognized in the world as the top third worst park for stabbings and muggings. And I got stabbed. Got mugged. But anyway, so I got stabbed. So what happened? I got stabbed. What do you make it mean? Life's dangerous. Who did you become? Brave, fearless, reckless, wild, drinking, drugging, doing crazy things, pushing the boundaries of life, because I nearly died at the age of 18. I remember crying. And hello to Tommy, Martin, Simon, and Shahid, the other 4 boarding school boys, all Year of the Rabbits. And if you're still alive, lots of love to you guys. But it was a horrendous time. I remember being stabbed and crying. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And Simon, who's the first person who was being approached by these 2 men who were robbing us, basically, said to the other 3 boys who were sleeping in their sleeping bags, wake up, Charles was being stabbed. So they went out 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning into the whole of Amsterdam or whatever. And they did a great job. They got ambulances and police cars and all that kind of stuff. And the policeman who first came up lifted up my shirt to see my stabbing wound, saw it was a puncture only, said, oh yeah, he'll survive. Sorry we're late, there's been a shooting up the road. But anyway, I remember going to the hospital and they stitched me up for 3 days. I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. But my 4 friends, we had Euro passes. There's no point waiting around in Amsterdam. So they went and followed Susie and the Banshees up to Berlin, I think. Anyway, got on the train, etc. They came back with a bunch of flowers. And on we went around Europe for our holiday, buying flick knives to protect ourselves. Oh my God, that's crazy story. But anyway, yeah, so that was my 3 moments. And I remember sitting in the room for 200, 300 people. Oh, so my God, I'm unlovable. I'm good at being independent, good about being funny, and I'm good about being brave and fearless. So I phoned up my mom and dad in the course. I said, Mom, Dad, do you remember when I was 13 years old going to boarding school? And my dad was a magistrate in Hong Kong for 20 years. He goes, oh, yes, son, we tried to sue the company. No, I didn't know that, Dad. I said, well, anyway, Mom and Dad, I decided that you didn't love me. And Dad goes, oh, son, I don't like this lovey-dovey stuff. Here's your mother. And my mom's Chinese. He goes, oh, Charles, what do you say, you damn stupid boy? We love you so much. You know, you never listen. You always think we love your brother more. No, we love you the same. I remember bursting into tears because I really got to see that for 30 years of my life. I've been pushing my mom and dad away because of my successful brother, my smarter brother, the brother I bullied. I remember finding my brother up in the course. And I said, Felix, I'm so sorry. I'm doing this personal development course. I'm crying my eyes out. And I'm sorry for bullying you, so resenting you. And bless my brother. He said, oh, Charles, it's just part of being a brother. 2 years later, he did the landmark for me. It was gorgeous. But anyway, that's another story. But then again, you know, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm unlovable. Oh my God, poor Cathy. So I phoned up Cathy in the course. And I said, Cathy, I'm doing this personal development course right now. And I got to see that I was a righteous idiot in our relationship. You really forgave me for my 3 one-night stands when you were in Europe and I was still in London. And you forgave me 3 times and you really loved me. I'm so sorry for being a righteous dickhead. And she said to me, oh, Charles, you're finally listening to me. Again, I burst into tears. Then I remember after Cathy's relationship, I was heartbroken for 6 months and then I started dating again. But I remember, again, looking at the course, I had my heart protected and I went out with the leader for some time, but I was protected. And I phoned up leader and said, oh, sorry, I was really brokenhearted with Cathy. And she goes, yeah, I knew. And I said, I'm sorry for being an idiot. I never let your love in. So about 3 girlfriends after Cathy, I phoned them up for being a righteous idiot, not letting the love in because I was unlovable. And all of them could really see that I was damaged goods from Cathy, but you know, I just wasn't willing to let the love in. So now whenever someone says, Charles, I love you, or Charles, you're so lovely, I let it in. Thank you. But anyway, what was gorgeous about the Landmark Forum and all the courses I've done ever since was that it really trained me to be a stand for things, be a stand for things that were important to me. And I remember my stand for world peace is a result of understanding and looking at my childhood, but also understanding my childhood, but also looking at my mom and dad's childhood. My dad's English, my mom's Chinese. My dad was in Great Yarmouth, and in World War II, 1931 to 45, the Germans bombed Great Yarmouth more than London. Why? Because Great Yarmouth was on the way back and forth to Germany. So all the spare bombs that they didn't drop in London, they dropped in Great Yarmouth. So we got hammered. And so Dad was sent away to his mother in York because it was safer, crying his eyes out because he never thought he'd see his mum and dad again. Luckily, they survived. But you know, Dad's childhood experience of World War II was sadness because of the scary bombs and things. And as for Mum, oh dear, Mum was in Sandakan, Malaysia. The Japanese invaded Asia, invaded Sandakan. And in fact, even on the last days of World War II, the Japanese who'd overtaken the town of Sandakan marched 10 of the leaders of the village to the top of the hill and shot them all. And one of them was my mother's father. Mum was 8 years old. And so I said to myself, oh, Mom and Dad, I'm going to see if I can stop the world fighting for a day. So I started the Ceasefire project on the 15th September 1995. I was a fire breather. Hello, Jocko. Jocko was the man who taught me fire breathing and taught myself, Duncan and Chris, fire breathing. And I used the fire breathing as a means of getting attention. So I organized Channel 10. Oh, the Landmark Forum teaches you how to develop news stories or news stories that are worth filming. So, you know, press releases. And so I did a press release before the 15th September 1995 to all the television stations in Australia. And I said, oh, we're going to do a fire show for world peace on the Sydney Opera House steps at midnight on the 5th of September. And Channel 10 News turned up with a camera crew, and we did a fire show in the name of world peace. And we were on Channel 10 News in the name of world peace. Because the 5th of September 1995 marked 5 years before the opening ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games. And so not only were we on Channel 10 News in Australia, but the story was picked up by CNN News in America, and it went around the world. And how we know that was my half-sister, her husband, and they were all living in Brunei. And they have a son called Kingwai. Hello, Kingwai. And Kingwai said to his dad, Dad, there's Uncle Charles. Because there I was on the Opera House steps blowing fire for world peace. And my Ip was my sister's husband's name. He phoned up my father, goes, good Lord, you didn't know that Charles was on CNN News. And my dad didn't know that because he didn't have CNN News. So it was an extraordinary moment for our family. And you can imagine, you know, suddenly Mum and Dad got clear that Charles was up to something pretty big. And then for the next 5 years, on the 15th of September, I organized fire shows at the Sydney Opera House, the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and then I even organized fire shows in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Auckland, around New Zealand and Australia, because I was doing the Landmark course, the Team Management Leadership Program, in the name of world peace. And it was extraordinary. In fact, in 1999, I got interviewed by the Sydney Olympic Committee, and we got the gig for the Olympic Games. Because I remember going into the interview and the man goes, oh, we've seen you doing all these fire shows and, you know, want to keep you a secret, but, you know, can you recreate a bushfire? Because we're Australian, we would like to do a bushfire. I said, excuse my language, fuck yeah. And Will Garwood and myself, hello, Will, we're in the interview. And so we got the gig for the Olympic Games in 1999. However, this is an interesting thing. I was in the landmark course, the integrity seminar. And on the 5th of September 1999, I did a press release, and I did a press release to all the TV stations to come down to Darling Harbour for a fire show for world peace. And but the Olympic Committee phoned me up and said, "Hey, Charles, don't. I said, "What do you mean?" No. We want to keep you a secret. We want to keep you a secret for the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. I said, but I've been doing it for the last 5 years or 4 years, and it's all about world peace. And the Olympic Games is all about world peace. The Olympic truce, the Olympic Games is all about doing your battles on the playing field versus battles on the battlefield. No, Charles, if you do that, if you do a show at the Darling Harbour, you may jeopardize the opportunity of opening the ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games. And I said, with due respect, I'm going to stand for world peace, and I'm sorry, we're going to do a show. Anyways, so what was interesting about that was that suddenly the fire breathers were in two places. Do we support Charles, or do we support, we don't do the fire show and avoid the fire show? And hello, Tony. I had a girlfriend called Tony, who was a filmmaker. So Tony filmed no camera crews turned up, but Tony filmed the show. And I remember I was in the integrity seminar, and I remember standing up on the microphone complaining about the Olympic Committee. And I'll never forget Joe Watkins. Hello, Joe Watkins. Joe Watkins was the leader, seminar leader, and he goes, "Charles, you'll stand for world peace. And do you think you're being world peace with the Sydney Olympic Committee?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but it's all about world peace." Yeah, but Charles, were you being world peace? And I said, "Oh, no, I wasn't." So I said, "What are you going to do about it?" So I said, "I'm going to phone him up and apologize." So I phoned up and apologized. And the lady that I've been speaking with, sadly, I can't remember her name. But anyway, the lovely lady, I said, "Look, I'm so sorry for doing this fire show in the name of world peace, because I now clear that I'm the kind of guy who would start war. I'm the kind who would start a war. I was so righteous about my stand for world peace. I was having a fight with you guys. So I promised not to do any more fire shows in Australia. I'm going to go to New Zealand." And there was a big pause. And then finally the lady said, "Thank you, Charles. Thanks for your apology. And good luck with New Zealand. We know you'll do a good job." So that was fantastic. And what a beautiful send-off by the Sydney Olympic Committee. And so off I went to New Zealand. And then on the 6th of June 2000, the Olympic torch was in Auckland. And by that time, I'd organized fire breathers' children from Western Springs College to breathe fire in the name of world peace. So we all gathered on the 6th of June as the Olympic torch ran past Aotea Square. And in the pouring rain, which is actually quite safe for fire breathers, the children, we all got in a circle, and we were breathing fire for world peace. My press release to all the TV stations did not show on the news that day. But on the 15th September 2000, at 7:30 in the morning, I was interviewed on national television in New Zealand, TVNZ. And how it happened was, in fact, again, I was at Landmark, doing a lot of Landmark, and a woman was involved with the Sydney Olympic Committee's sponsors in Auckland. And there was a big party on the opening ceremony at the Eden Park Stadium, famous rugby stadium in Auckland. And she put me in touch with them. And then the TV stations wanted to know. And then the TV stations sent down a camera crew at 7:30 in the morning. So I had Western Springs College school children, before they went to school, breathing fire for world peace. And it was extraordinary, because when the camera was on my face, I'll show you the clip. It was extraordinary. But yeah, it was funny. I was fully expressed for this live television broadcast at Eden Park Stadium. And in fact, ironically, after that show in the morning, I walked into a recording studio to record some music for that night because I was doing a fire show that night for the Olympic Committee's sponsors in Eden Park Stadium. And when I walked into the recording studio, a man goes, "Excuse me, were you the guy on TV this morning?" And I said, yeah, I said, "Yes, I was." And I said, "Actually, now that you've met me, may I ask you, what was your experience of me?" And the man goes, "Do you want me to be honest?" I said, "Yeah, sure." "Mate, you are full on." So here's my full on. Enjoy the show. This is one of the legacies that's in fact my mum and dad saw 2 years later. They didn't know that I was on national television. They saw it 2 years later. And it was a beautiful moment for my mother and father to see that I declared the possibility of world peace to the nation of New Zealand, given that both my mum and dad were World War II children at the time. So the world peace conversation was pretty extraordinary for the Crawshaw family.
It's an Olympic event, is it?
Actually, you'll be surprised. There is a special on tonight at the Olympics. It's a very special moment for ourselves. We're the Chilli Club fire breathers. We've been standing for world peace for the last 5 years, and there's going to be a big surprise at the Olympic Games. And in fact, the people behind me are all the way from Western Springs College. In fact, we're currently the world record holders for the most number of fire breathers ever gathered to one place doing a fire eating show, and that was at Airtier Square on the 7th of June when the Olympic torch left Auckland. So we really are committed to causing world peace for one day, and we're declaring as the 15th of September for the next 20 years when we start the peace ceremonies.
Well, good on you. You got a mate at the opening ceremony, in the opening ceremony tonight.
Absolutely. It's actually my brother, so you'll see my brother in the ceremony for the fire show. He'll be back on the stage, and it's going to be a big day for the Crawshaw family. My mum and dad will be in Brisbane watching, and my brother will be leading the Chilli Club fire breathers. In fact, there's going to be about 170 fire breathers in the opening ceremony, and like I said, it's all a commitment to causing world peace on this planet. It's going to happen.
Good on you, mate. Nice to talk with you, and have a good games, won't you? Charles Crawshaw in Auckland.
Thank you, Western Springs College.
Good. Does that man know how to promote himself or what? 7:28.
Oh, what enthusiasm. Up next,
Wasn't that fun? What was beautiful, again, on the opening ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games in the evening in New Zealand 3 hours ahead of Brisbane, where my mum and dad were watching, the ceremony started, and then suddenly the camera was in the stadium, and then the camera was right behind the stage, and the stage was overlooking the stadium, and right behind the camera had a shot of my brother's back. I said to my friends, we were watching the show in Auckland, I said, "Oh, that's my brother, that's my brother, that's my brother." And suddenly I got a phone call from my mom. And she goes, "Charles, that's Felix, that's Felix." I said, "Yes, Mum, isn't it great?" And bless my mum, she said, Charles, are the cameras in New Zealand showing his face?" And I said, "Oh, Mum, that video footage is going millions and billions of people around the world. No, they're not, Mum." But it was a beautiful moment for Mum and Dad. Obviously, they were very proud of my brother Felix. Well done, Felix. Yeah, it was just, from what I understand from my brother, the fire breathers in the opening ceremony were really put a line in the sand, really contributed to the whole opening ceremony in the name of world peace. So well done, Felix and team. And in fact, Dushka, I believe Dushka, yes, thank you to Dushka, who's one of the fire breathers, a friend of ours, who made the call to me just before the opening ceremony started, just to say thank you and hello and all that kind of stuff. He passed the phone around a bit. It was very exciting. Yeah, so thanks, Dushka. That was lovely. So in 2004, I was back in Sydney, and I had to split up with my girlfriend at the time. And my brother, bless his heart, I've always thanked him for this. He said, "Charles, you know what? You ever thought about changing your lifestyle?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, look, if you've lived in London, you've lived in Hong Kong, you've lived in Sydney, but maybe you should consider somewhere a little different, somewhere like Byron Bay." And for those of you who don't know, Byron Bay is a tourist destination for many, many people in Australia. What's put it out? I don't know, 2 million visitors per year. It's the most easterly point of Australia. So all the whales, when they swim around Australia to go north to give birth to their babies, and then they swim back down to Antarctica, etc. So it's very good for whale watching. And there's a great diving spot at Julian Rocks. And it's got great music festivals. And it's a very different lifestyle from city life. Beautiful countryside. You can go into all the hills and hills in the back there. And there's lovely rivers and streams and koala bears and wallabies, things like that. So yeah, good Australiana if you look for it. And anyway, my dear father, before he died, he gave Mum, or said to Mum that she's got, here's the money when he passes. And Mum said, oh, it's too much money, I'm going to give some to my son. So gave me, was it 200,000 Australian dollars back in 2004. And that was enough to buy a 2-bedroom apartment in Ocean Shores. So I did. And so I moved to Ocean Shores, and it was great. It was just, this farmers markets, there's lots of things to do, but very different from city life. And I really enjoyed living and breathing there. And in fact, actually, the reason I was in Ocean Shores originally, before I got the apartment, was, again, a lovely lady by the name of Shakina O'Hara, my girlfriend, who encouraged me to move from Sydney to Byron Bay, and I eventually moved in with her and her children. So she was the catalyst for actually me moving in, and then I bought my apartment as well. So yeah, and so then I started OceanShoresTV.com. Was it generating powerful educational legacies for future generations? When you got a camera, you can have some fun with that. So I started Ocean Shores Television, had some fun filming things, and yeah, look, it's just been a great experience in Ocean Shores, and the Ocean Shores Tavern. Hello, Kim and Adam Berger and all the staff there. Just been wonderful in terms of walking distance from my apartment. And in fact, actually, right now, as we speak in 2024, my apartment's for sale because I'm in Dubai. But that's another story. Oh, one thing I'd like to share about Ocean Shores is that, sure, the lifestyle's $1 million lifestyle. That's basically what I share with my friends. It really is a lovely place to live. And it's very close to Byron Bay. It's only a 15-minute drive. And Byron Bay is the hub of all sorts of lovely activities. But the thing I really wanted to share about Ocean Shores is that my brother saw that when I was in Sydney, I was a small fish living in a big city. And what he suggested about moving to Byron Bay was that I'd be a big fish living in a small city or a small town. So I was very well known in Ocean Shores for bouncing around on the bouncy boots. I had my bouncy boots. Bouncing around with flags. I started running flags for world peace. And OceanShoresTV.com was the website that I ran. And I also started a website for world peace, dedicated to world peace by the 11th of February 2032, the new year of the rat in the Chinese zodiac, charming rat. And WP2032.com is the website. And it was through that website that I had an extraordinary experience. Why? Because at the time when I was working on the website, one of the things that we were targeting was all 195 United Nations. And what I can see as the possibility of having world peace on this planet is to have all 195 United Nations be led by women. And so, I think if you look at the news right now in 2024, what's the elephant in the room? The big elephant in the room that no one says, or I've yet to hear it, is who's doing the fighting? Is it the men or the women? So my stand is to have all 195 United Nations led by women. So when I was running this website, I had a dear friend of mine Olowa Fami Abdul Wahab. And he was in Nigeria. And he'd been making all these databases for me. And I said to him, look, we got all these guys doing work on the website, but we need some women. I need a woman to make some videos to speak about world peace, and then send the messages to the website, but also to invite all the women that we've nominated to go on camera and take a stand for world peace by the 11th of February 2032 nationally, broadcasted nationally. And let's have that. Let's start that conversation. A line in the sand. Sandwithaline.com. And so anyway, so Olowa Fami, unbeknownst to me, said, oh yeah, Blessing will do. And I didn't know, but Blessing was his ex-girlfriend. But anyway, so Blessing jumped on the line. And so I said, Blessing, can we do some videos for world peace? And sure. And anyway, so we started chatting online, Zoom from Australia to New Zealand. Sorry, Australia to Nigeria. And anyway, in the chatting, all I said was, oh God, it'd be really nice if I could start a family one day. And she said, I would like to start one too. I said, but with me, I'm 24 years older than you. She goes, so? And so in that moment, we started this relationship online. I said, well, okay, well, I worked out that I'm a 1963 rabbit. She's a 1987 rabbit, year of the rabbit in the Chinese zodiac. Rabbits, goats, and pigs is in a trine, so we get on easier than a snake, dragon, or monkey, for instance. And so we started this relationship online, talking every day online. I said, right, well, if we want to start a family, we want to have a baby rabbit, and the baby rabbit is 2023. So we met in Dubai in 2022, and we got married in Abu Dhabi on the 22nd of June 2022 in Abu Dhabi. And then obviously we made love. And I didn't know until later that Blessing's very fertile. So I think on the second or third attempt, she got pregnant. So which meant that, our baby was deliberately timed to be born in the year of the rabbit. Anyway, so Blessing returned to Nigeria in October 2022. And then I flew to Nigeria for the first time in April 2023. And then in May 2023, little baby Amina Schumann Crawshaw was born. And wow, what a journey. And wow, as a legacy, suddenly I've got a child and a beautiful wife to take care of or be aware of or generate a possibility of a loving relationship for the rest of our lives together. And also the possibility of world peace by the 11th of February 2032, which is my baby daughter will be 9 years old. I'll be 69 years old. And I'm putting up my hand to open the ceremony of the Brisbane Olympic Games on the 23rd of July, 2032. Opening ceremony of the Brisbane Olympic Games. And by that time, with a bit of luck, we've caused world peace on this planet. We've started the new space race. And maybe Amina will be ready to go to the moon as a possibility. Woo! So lots of love to Blessing and Amina right now. Hello, darlings. I speak to them on a daily basis from Dubai. I'm in Dubai, and my wife and baby are in Kaduna right now, where Blessing was born. And Abuja is the capital city of Nigeria, and that's where we're going to set up shop soon when I go and rejoin my little baby daughter, who right now is so used to the phone. She's talking to daddy on the phone. What have we done? We've introduced our baby to a phone at the age of 9, 10 months old. What's gorgeous is baby Amina knows daddy's voice, has a smile on her face when he hears and sees daddy's face on the phone. So it's very funny and just a joy. So this is the legacy I'd like to leave. Oh, leave blessing in my baby in case I die tomorrow. You know, like that's the reason for creating these legacy videos. So a big shout out to Alan Sarkisian, because him and I are partners in making these legacy videos. And, you know, Alan's an expert. His company is called Story First Films. And, you know, he went to America and studied the art of storytelling, the art of making great films that really speak to people who watch the films in a way that touches, moves, and inspires you. So anyway, Alan hasn't seen this video. He's going to see this now. And I'm now clear that, wow, making these legacy videos for anyone is going to be an engaging game. Why? Because you, as a person who's thinking of doing a legacy video, you're going to have to, well, not have to, but document your life. I mean, what are you proud of? What are the things you want to get complete? One of the things that you need to let the world know? What are the legacies you want the world to remember for you as a person before you go? For your children, your family, whoever. And so it's why I've made this legacy video at the age of 60. And, you know, I said to Alan, you know, every 5 years, you know, we've accomplished more, so we can upgrade or add to the video, such that when you do die, oh, thank God we got a legacy video. Oh, it's a bit 4 years old, 5 years old. Doesn't matter. At least we can play that at the funeral. So yeah, that's the idea of these legacy videos, because, you know, maybe we take life for granted, you know, like, and all those people right now who are in a different space from me, I'm so blessed to not be in a war zone. So blessed not to be in a third world country, you know, and so blessed that I've got a great life compared to so many people. And, you know, I'm really interested in creating a world that works for everyone with no one and nothing left out. And so I want to say a big shout out to all my Landmark Worldwide community. I've spent 30 years with you, and you've all made a big difference in my life with your sharing and all the projects that you've done or are creating or engaged with. Because I've really learned a lot from you. And so, yeah, so I really want to thank Landmark Worldwide publicly. And a nice warm shout out to a man in my life, Greg Hartman, who was a forum leader for 8 years. Because we're engaged in a company called The Great Discovery, which is all about e-learning, online learning. And what an exciting company that is. Because I'm really interested in education. And nowadays, do you have to go to school? Well, not necessarily, as long as you've got access to a phone. I beg your pardon? Yes. You could learn online all sorts of things. You can become an entrepreneur because you're learning about how to be an entrepreneur. You can learn how to make online courses for other people to learn from you with your experience or your expertise in whatever subject or subject or that you're passionate about. You know, your legacy. Put it online so that everyone can learn from you before you go. So yeah, thegreatdiscovery.com/recommendations. Recommendation without the S. So thegreatdiscovery.com/recommendation will give you access to all the current programs available. And now, thanks to artificial intelligence, these programs that you speak to in English, for instance, right now, can be learned in Japanese or can be learned in Afghanistanese or Jordanian or whatever language you want. There's 140 languages or more on the Great Discovery. And so you can translate the website to your language. And so therefore, you can really truly become global in terms of your courses that you submit to the Great Discovery or submit to the world anyway in your different languages or wherever. You know, would you like to make a difference in Bangladesh? Would you like to make a difference in India? You know, what does these countries need or can learn from you as an expert in your field? So yeah, all right. Thanks very much indeed for watching the legacy video, and I'll think of anything else that I need to add to this legacy video right now. Thank you. Yes, a legacy. Well, legacy about alcohol. Yeah, what a crazy conversation that is. So, look, I apologize to everyone who's been impacted by my mischief with alcohol. You know, like for many, many years, I thought, oh yeah, it makes you happy, it makes you fun, makes you communicate better, whatever. all that stuff. And so yeah, just to get complete with alcohol, well, it was really interesting. Is that so I started drinking when I was 16 years old. It was I think I shared in the legacy video. My father introducing me to alcohol, and when I was in New Zealand, you know, like I got a letter from the courts about an alcoholic incident. And when I got the letter from the court saying I needed to attend a court for the alcoholic incident, I said to myself, I've got a problem with alcohol. So I went and joined the Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was there, I was in that energy for 3 months. And you know, in the Alcoholics Anonymous, they say that alcohol is a disease. And I can see that. And what's it? It impacts the 3 L's. Is it law, love? No, I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's been some time ago. But it impacts a whole bunch of L's. Anyway, I remember that, you know, in the first early days of the Alcoholics Anonymous room with all these people sharing about their alcoholic stories, one of the things they'd say was, when did it start and who was it with? And I went, oh my God, it was my dad. So I phoned up my dad. I said, Dad, I've just joined the Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm learning about alcohol. And I remember the 16th birthday. But I've always admired you, Dad. He goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, you know, like you never drank on Mondays and Tuesdays. You always drank on the other days, but not on Mondays and Tuesdays. And my dad goes, oh, well, you shouldn't be acknowledging me. I said, what do you mean? You should be thanking your mother. I said, I beg your pardon? Yes. Your mother said to me, if you drink on Mondays or Tuesdays, I will leave you. So from that moment onwards, Dad never drank on Mondays and Tuesdays. And bless Mum, you know, Mum rarely drank. You know, there was times when I was growing up at school, and you know, Dad would finish his magistrate work at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, whatever, come home and have a couple of beers, etc. And listen to classical music. And it was lovely. It was a very nice energy. And Mum was in the TV room watching TV or reading. And but every now and then Dad would go and top up his beer. And we'd be watching the other television. And so we were watching television. Dad would go to the fridge, open the door, and then you could hear from Mum's television room, Tony, that's number 3. So Mum would be counting the number of times the door opened for the fridge door to be open and Dad having a beer. So, yeah, Mum really managed Dad on his alcohol consumption. But it was beautiful, you know, thank God for that, you know, in terms of, wow, you know, the mischief of alcohol. And I guess, you know, I haven't drunk since 2017. So I want to thank a girl called Rowan. Because what happened was, you know, I was drinking. Some of the drinking stories that I have, terrible. You know, I passed out outside my apartment door, which worried the neighbors so much she called for an ambulance. I ended up in an ambulance going to hospital because I was so drunk. Whoa. And then a couple of times I've been drive. Not good. So yeah. So the alcohol mischief. So yeah. So anyway, but what was beautiful about Rowan was that she's English, and she came and we played together in Ocean Shores, and so we went drinking, and all I remember her saying was basically, Charles, you know you drink a bit. Charles, you know you drink a bit. Charles, you know you drink a bit. So I was drinking. Anyway, after 10 days of being together, because she was on holiday and we were sharing, and she goes, Charles, you know you drink a bit. Charles, you know you drink a bit. And then on the 10th day, we went up to some friends up in the hills, back into the Ocean Shores. And she and my 2 male friends were all drinking. And anyway, the one of the guys said, look, you know, you've drunk too much, you might as well stay. And he was pointing out the bedrooms where we're going to sleep. Anyway, Rowan's pretty, and I got the vibe that, you know, maybe the man and Rowan were gonna do something or whatever, and I got upset. So I left her, I abandoned her, got in the car and drove down back home. And the next day, Rowan turns up, goes, what did you do? You just left me up there with your two friends. Yeah. I said, I'm sorry, but you've really taught me something. She said, what's that? You've taught me that I really drink a bit, and I'm never going to drink again. And from that day onwards, I never drank. And I really thank you, Rowan, for stopping me, because it really was a problem. And in fact, what was interesting was, ironically, was Dad had passed in 2003, and Mum was still alive back then in 2017. And Mum said, look, why don't we go on a cruise? I've never been on a cruise. Mum had been on a couple of cruises with Dad while he was alive. And so we went on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise. My brother's never been on a cruise. My brother's wife had never been on a cruise. And so we went on this holiday from Singapore to Beijing, 10-day cruise. Extraordinary. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a big old boat before with 3,000 people on, with 5 restaurants and gymnasium and decks and all that kind of stuff. Massive thing. Extraordinary. Great. It was a moving village. And you can, you know, every time we stopped on off along the way up north, you know, we could get off, etc. It was wonderful. But, you know, my mum drank a little bit. Well, she was, since Dad gone, she's drank a little bit more, perhaps. My brother drank. My wife doesn't drink much, but anyway, there was a bar where I think Mum paid for the bar, where the drinks were free for the first 2 hours or something like that. Anyway, so the first day we went to the bar, and my mum and my brother started drinking, etc. And after a few drinks, you know, off you go. And I got clear that that was not going to be my energy. So for the rest of the cruise, I did not go to the bar, because it just wasn't my energy, because I wasn't drinking. And so yeah, so it was a very different energy that I wasn't. I suppose I could have gone to the bar and drank Coca-Cola or something, a soft drink, but I guess there's a whole world of alcohol. And after a couple of drinks, something happens to the human being that they become different. And so yeah, so it's really interesting, because, you know, I used to go to the Ocean Shores Tavern, but after not drinking, then I didn't really frequent the tavern. Well, I went there for coffees, so that was the only time I would go to the tavern in Ocean Shores. So, but anyways, it's the alcohol. So yeah, got me into a lot of trouble every now and then. And yeah, so anyone who's impacted by my alcohol intake, I apologize. So yeah, if I caught you any harm or hurt, please forgive me, and we'll take it from there. Yeah, but I'm glad I don't drink anymore, and luckily my beautiful wife, Blessing, she doesn't drink. Every now and then she has a glass of wine or something like that, but no, nothing to write home about. And so anyway, so our little baby daughter will be in a room where there's no alcohol, which is great. All right, that's my take on alcohol as a legacy. No alcohol for Charles anymore. Thank you. So yeah, so this legacy section is dedicated to my beautiful wife, Blessing Nye Crawshaw, and my beautiful baby girl, Amina Schumann Crawshaw. What's gorgeous about our baby is that first she's a girl. I'm so glad I got a girl. Go girls, go power, and all that kind of stuff. You know, like put the women in charge. Is that Amina Schumann's names are from Blessing's mother and my mother. So the legacy of Schumann Crawshaw is in my little child, Amina Schumann Crawshaw. And Blessing's mother's still alive, and what a lovely lady she is. And it was such a pleasure to meet her face to face. We met online, but face to face. And what's gorgeous is, my wife is Nigerian. And so I'm learning about the Nigerian culture, the Nigerian way of life. And I'm half English, half Chinese. And, I'm really present to colonialism and all that the white man did in Africa, which isn't a very good legacy, or it's, I don't know. It's I apologize to all the bad things that have occurred in Africa thanks to colonization. And look, I'm about to move back to Abuja. I was there for 6 months for the birth of our child, our baby. But I'm about to move back to Abuja, and I'm looking forward to it because I've never lived in a less developed country like Nigeria, Australia, Hong Kong, and London and England are the only countries that I've lived in. And so I'm looking forward to being able to put a foothold in, but also to make a difference as much as I can in any shape or form. So I'm looking forward to that. And my beautiful wife, obviously, this is her home. And, we're going to have some fun developing together. And, one of the most beautiful things about my beautiful wife is that, when we got, well, we didn't get engaged, but we got married. But she did a lot of personal development courses through Landmark Worldwide. And she learned a lot about herself. And more importantly, she learned a lot about what it takes to have an extraordinary relationship. And I said that we've got an extraordinary relationship simply because I guess our communication comes from power and empowerment. We haven't had a full-on feisty argument yet. And I don't believe that we will, just because I guess, I've got 30 years behind me, and Blessing's got two years at least behind her. And she's a graduate of the Self-Expression Leadership Program, both communication programs, and even the beautiful Wisdom Program run by Landmark Worldwide. So from that context, from that background, we're on a great platform. And obviously from the upbringing of our little baby, Amina, who's now nearly 1 year old, we'll be able to contribute to our little baby in a way that touches, moves, and inspires our baby and empowers our baby. And one of the things that I'm excited about the Great Discovery that I mentioned, the Great Discovery Company, greatdiscovery.com/recommendation, is that one of the powerful courses that I've done online is about establishing your core values. Because once you've established your core values and start living out of your core values, then consider your life is a dream. Why? Because you've discovered your core values, and if you're living out of your core values, then your life is a dream. So here's my core values: arouse, catalyze, contribute, empathize, and bring joy. So arouse, So I like arousing people. If you're not aroused now, can I arouse you? I mean, no, I just love interacting with people. Where sure, I've got a lot of energy, but if that rubs off on someone, fantastic. I've aroused someone. It's just great. I like being aroused because can you imagine being in a room of aroused people? What's possible? What's possible? What's possible? Breakdown, breakthrough. Breakdown, breakthrough. Bringing joy. One of the values I have in life is happiness, and so bringing joy. If I'm happy and you're happy, well, if you're smiling right now and watching this, wouldn't it be great if all of our core values is happiness and joy? So yeah, that's one of my core values that I've discovered out of the program on the Great Discovery. Catalyze. Oh yes. So yeah. What's possible? How can we call something together? Like plastic conversation. It's plastic in the water. Plastic everywhere. Single-use plastic. What ideas can we do? What can we put our energies toward? Who can we grab in our team to have this world go, wow, we've solved the plastic problem, etc. So yeah, catalyzing, contribute. Oh, I love contributing. You know, I like giving, and if I can contribute in any shape or form. Oh, one of the things that you can contribute just simply by listening and watching out for your judgments and assessments. Just listening for possibility or listening for contribution. So I do love, I provide a good ear. Even though I've done 30 years of this with Landmark Worldwide and now the Great Discovery. Empathize, whoa. Like I said, I've had a gifted childhood. I had a gifted life. I've had a great life at the age of 60. Even after being stabbed at the age of 18, I've had a great life as a result of that because I love life, because I nearly died after the stabbing, you know, punctured my lungs. I don't want to die. But, you know, now that I survived that, I've had a great life. So, yeah, this legacy for contributing and empathizing with people. You know, when I watch the news about all the wars on this planet, all the floods, all the natural disasters on this planet, which decimate communities, whoa, I empathize. You know, I really empathize. And then if I can make a difference, then I will in that energy. So yeah, those are my 5 core values. So yeah, just wanted to share that with everyone. And lots of love to my beautiful wife, Blessing, and my lovely baby girl, Amina Crawshaw. Oh, and then, you know, like, yeah, you know, I assisted around the Young Persons Forum and the Teen Landmark Forum. And, you know, I've learned a lot about children, and well, we're all children, consider. So consider we're 100% responsible for all our relationships. The person in front of you has nothing to do with it. You can cause a great husband because you said so. You can cause a great wife because you said so. You can cause a great child because you said so. They are human beings being human. Yeah, but I don't like it when I don't like it when he. Finger pointing at you. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to empowering my little baby, Amina, or us empowering our little baby, Amina, to, discover her purpose in life at the age of 5. So the Great Discovery's got a great book that you can read to your children at the age of 5, where they start to learn what their purpose in life is. Imagine living a purpose in life from the age of 5 onwards. Wow, Amina, maybe your purpose in life is to be a champion explorer for the moon and the Mars and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Amina, Schumann. All right, lots of love to my lovely family and to all parents on this planet. Yeah. Well done. Congratulations for bringing your child to the planet. And then, you know, what's the biggest fear that every parent has about bringing up their children? Am I doing the right thing? So as a child, what's the biggest gift could you ever give your parents? Phone them up and let them know they've done a great job under the circumstances. Wow. You know, I phoned up my mom and dad, and I acknowledged Dad for reading me bedtime stories to me and my brother when we were kids. He read Lord of the Rings, all 3 books. We couldn't wait to get to bed. We wanted to find out what was happening to Gollum or Frodo. So yeah, I thank Dad for that. It was he got it. But he said to me, bless his heart, so English, "Oh, son, that's what all dads do, isn't it?" Bless him. So yeah, thanks, Dad. And I let him know that. And I apologize to Mum, like I said in the last one of the legacy videos, is apologize for making Mum wrong for kissing Lynn Gardner. And I acknowledge Mum for just being a really great mom in terms of strong. She's a strong woman, beautiful woman. Yeah. So yeah, lots of love to all parents on this planet. And as for children, you're our future. Let's empower you. Thanks. Bye. Family. Yes, a legacy for the family. Well, you know, in terms of being complete and sharing and acknowledging my beautiful family, extended family. You know, I think one of the cutest things is, as you know, my mom's Chinese and my dad's English. And I got to tell you the beautiful story about what happened about how they dated was, you know, Dad was a lawyer in Sandakan and my mum was a teacher. And there was 2 clubs back in the day, 1961, 2, 3. And one was the Sandak and Yacht Club, and one was the Recreation Club. And so in the Recreation Club was where my mum and dad saw each other. And anyway, one day, Dad goes up to Mum and picks up the courage to go up and see Mum, and says, "Excuse me, my name's Tony, and I'm playing hockey tomorrow. I wonder, do you sew?" And my mum looks at him and goes, "Yes." "Well, would you be so kind as could you sew the numbers on my shirt for hockey tomorrow?" "Oh, okay." That's what my mum said. So she sewed the shirt, sewed the numbers on the shirt, and then gave them to my father that morning before the match. And my father goes, "Oh, look, thank you so much. And look, if you don't mind, may I take you out for dinner tonight to say thank you?" "Oh, okay." So Dad took Mum out for dinner in the Recreation Club. And so then Dad, being a gentleman, he got Mum's seat and he sat Mum down. And he sat down. And then Mum, straight away, before Dad said anything, "Excuse me, before you say anything, I need to say two things." And my dad goes, "Oh, yes, yes. What do you want to say?" And my mum goes, "One, I am a single mother. I have 2 children. So if you come out with me, you will need to, the children come first." And my father goes, okay, cool. I've seen you around town. I've seen you everywhere. I see you here. I see you there. You got girlfriend here. You got girlfriend there. No more girlfriend. And from that moment, Dad stopped his girlfriends. And they became a couple. Mum got pregnant, married in January of 1963. And I was born in September 1963. So yeah, so as a result of that, so my mum was a single mother, and she had a boy and a girl, and we grew up with my sister is 10 years older than me, Angela, and she married a man called Ip. They were university sweethearts in Perth, Western Australia, and they had 3 children. And so there's Cece, there's Gingwai, and there's Weiwei. Weiwei is the oldest, then Cece, and then Gingwai. And so Angela, Weiwei, and Gingwai are all in Sydney right now. And Cece is in Los Angeles. And so look, thank you for who you've been in my life in terms of lovely listening. One of the cutest things I've always loved about Angela's children is they always call me Uncle Charles. Me and Uncle, it was lovely. And yeah, so just that simple remark has been wonderful. So thank you for calling me Uncle Charles. And as for Angela Fong, thanks for your wisdom. Fong and my brother are both year of the wise snake. So I've always appreciated the contribution. In fact, like I said, Angela Fong was the one who gave me the Jennings books to read as a 13-year-old boy in Hong Kong. And that's why I went to boarding school. So yeah, thank you. My beautiful brother Felix, like I said, I've competed with him a few times, and completion's an active generation moment by moment, so you can always get complete. But yeah, Felix, what a lovely relationship we've had. I guess more importantly, since the Landmark Forum, simply because we put the past in the past where it belongs. There's no sibling rivalry anymore, and there's really a listening for the good in each other, listening for the power of possibility in each other. And certainly that's been lovely. And then his wife, Karen, and they've got a lovely son, Sebastian. So hello, Sebastian, and all that. Sebastian is now a year of the goat, so he's lovely. He's one of my energies, and studying psychology from, if I remember, which is good. And Karen's been a wonderful support. And then, Mad Chai and David who's from my mother's sister's side. They're based in Asia, Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia. But yeah, Facebook has helped me connect with them, and I love their sharing every now and then, which is lovely. So thanks for being in my life and your contribution. And David, I really acknowledge you for your commitment to the family tree, or the family, the NG family, the other side, my Chinese side. I'm not as strong about learning about you guys than I am with my Western side. So thank you, David, for your stand in the matter about all things family from the point of view. And then what other family members? Other than I guess there's have I said all the family? Yes, I think I have said all the family. So forgive me if I haven't said anyone else that are alive and well. But I guess extended. Well, I think one of the things I would like to acknowledge is Auntie Laura from the Western side, from the Crawshaw point of view. My surname is Crawshaw, which means crow's wood in Old English. Is that Auntie Laura many years ago did a family tree, and I discovered that we have a beetle in Australia called the Crawshaw beetle, because one of our ancestors was a religious man, a pastor or some Bible person, and he was also he's an entomologist, studying of animals and beetles and insects. So we have a beetle named Crawshaw beetle. Wouldn't it be great to get that as an emblem? Crows is an emblem as well. But so thank you, Auntie Laura, for doing the family tree. I think that's I've named my immediate family that I can remember. So yeah, thank you for all who you have been in my life. Should I die tomorrow, thank you for being at my funeral. And by all means, say a little bit about me to the rest of the world, to continue my legacy as a possibility, or to share the legacy of our families, the Crawshaw family and the family as a possibility. All right, thank you. One of the things I want to speak about as a legacy is the possibility of world peace by the 11th of February 2032, New Year of the charming rat in the Chinese zodiac. Always starts with the rat and finishes with the pig. 12 animals. Is that I'm a stand to cause world peace by the 11th of February 2032, the New Year of the charming rat, for everyone. And what's been interesting in the conversation for world peace is a few things. One is, perhaps the general conversation is it'll never happen, or it's in human nature, we'll always fight. And so, there's a beautiful quote by Mahatma Gandhi. To believe what has not occurred in history will not occur at all is to argue disbelief in the dignity of man. So we can cause anything. And certainly if you want to be inspired, watch the movie Gandhi, about who that man was as an individual, but how he caused things just by the power of his word. So when you make promises, requests, declarations, and assertions, that's a powerful way of speaking. And when you honor your promises, then that's a powerful human being that you actually cause something. So I promised on the 15th of September 1995 that I'll open the ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games with fire breathers, and it happened. So again, landmark worldwide training, beautiful. Bold leadership causing the unimaginable was one of the futures I lived into. And also, who I am is the possibility of love, expressed through leadership, inspiration, energy, and enthusiasm. So yeah, that came out of the advanced course at Landmark. So yeah, highly recommend the Landmark worldwide courses if you've got time. It's all online nowadays. But yeah, back to the world peace. It's a good business. Blow it up, build again. Blow it up, build again. The war industry is a great business. So look, for all those people who are employed by the war industry, making weapons in the factories, etc., instead of making maybe 10% of all the money you make out of the weapons right now goes into the new space race, goes into a project that inspires you. I beg your pardon. Yeah, 10%. Oh my God, we just made a bomb that blows up the moon crater and puts water in there. Whoa, how did you do that? I don't know. Magical thinking, as they say in children speak. Yeah, imagine if 10% of the profits you make out of weapons weapons of mass destruction into machinery of vast production. We need to fly villages over to the moon, etc. Or instant villages, instant dams, instant electricity. I don't know. So that's one idea is to really start the new space race. Who's going to the moon first, or who's going to have to set the first colony up on the moon? Is it China, USA, Russia, France, Germany? Those are the top 5 nations right now that are making good money out of the weapons. Now let's start flying and getting excited. Imagine filling a spaceship up with 20 to 100 people. Would you go to the moon right now? Would you ever come back? Is it safe? We don't know. Who's going to be brave enough to jump on the spaceship and go to the moon, etc. So the adventure. That's one thing that I can see would be a possibility of world peace. And obviously, at the end of the day, if we're not blowing up everyone and shooting everyone and killing everyone, then we can start really focusing on and really being responsible for having a world that works for everyone with no one and nothing like that, including the nature. How clean is our water, and the plastics used in a different way, or what do we do with the plastics and all that, and for our children, children, honor the wisdom of the ages and step beyond the thinking of a day. Ask our children, what ideas do they have about fixing these issues that we've got right now? Us old people really messed up the planet, haven't we? I apologize to all women and children who suffer and die as a consequence of war. I even made up a saying that any man is most welcome to steal or repeat. War is a crime endorsed and actioned by men. I apologize to all women and children who suffer and die as a consequence. Let us men stand down and empower women to lead for peace on Mother Earth. Charles Crawshaw, born 1963. Your name, born. Off you go. Have that conversation, be loud and proud. And, I wanted to say something, as a one man to another man about women in terms of, I love women and empower women. I stand for all 195 nations led by women. Is in Australia some time ago, an Australian women's magazine asked women an innocent question. Dear women, what's the best thing about a woman? Or what's the best thing about a man? What's their strength? What's the number one strength about a woman? And what's the number one strength about a man? And the woman replied, what's the number one strength about women is we're natural leaders. Natural leaders. Beautiful. Totally agree. And then what the women said about men was, what's the best thing about men? Men know how to relax and play. Thank you, Australian women. You're gorgeous. I've never forgotten that. It's beautiful. And then one other thing about war and all that is that I remember one of my landmark worldwide friends that I met in Brisbane at a gathering. Well, she came up to me and she knew I was a stand for world peace. And she goes, "Oh, Charles, I want to share something about stress." I said, "What do you mean?" Well, many years ago, when scientists were studying stress, they were male scientists studying stress, and they had male subjects. So when the stress happened, they noticed that men produced testosterone, fight or flight. But then, the women looked at that and going, okay, yeah. Well, so the women scientists did the same stress on women. And what the women discovered was when a woman experiences stress, they produce oxytocin, tend and befriend. Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, that's world peace, isn't it? That's the possibility of world peace. Tend and befriend. So look, my stand in the matter is that, equality everywhere. All those countries right now where men are superior in any shape or form with women, please stand down. Please stand for equality. It's Mother Earth for a reason. They are the ones who give birth. Let's humble lives. Let's patriarchy, does that work? Or matriarchy, does that work? I don't know. But let's have a balance. Or maybe it's not men or women, it's just human beings being human. That's a possibility. So there's my rant. You want to call it a rant? There's my conversation about world peace. So yeah, that's one of the legacies that I'm interested in. And You know, I'm a stand for world peace for my mum and dad because they both grew up in World War II, which wasn't funny. You know, all those people right now who are alive who were in World War II as children, whoa, horrendous stories, I'm sure. You know, and Auntie Laurel, just Auntie Laurel's my father's sister who's still alive, living in England. And bless her that she made my day just before Mum died. Mum died in 2020. But when Mum passed away from a heart attack, she read out a letter from Auntie Laurel, good old letter, and said that Auntie Laurel was really proud of my stand for world peace. So Auntie Laurel, I really got that. It made a big difference in my life. And, you know, I thank you for who you are on this planet, for your possibility of world peace through sailing. Everyone sailing. Auntie Laurel's a published author of many books about sailing and set up and sail. So yeah, do a search online, Laurel Cooper, and you'll find some books made by my lovely auntie. And she's a lovely legacy for sailing and peace on the water, I'm sure. And as for Uncle Rodney and Auntie Anna, they're still alive. And again, they both grew up in World War II too. So I know that Auntie Anna and my mother were in Sandakan when the Japanese overtook the house. And my mum was 8 years old, I think, when the Japanese shot my mother's father out on the last days of World War II. So it's been I'm a stand for that energy. And right now in 2024, all those wars that we know about, oh dear, nightmare. You know, and all those mothers whose children are in war, fighting for their country. Peace, world peace now. Pass it on, we are it. All right, thanks so much for listening about the world peace energy that I am. One of the things I want to share with you in this legacy video is Operation WHAM, WHAM, Wealth, Health, Abundance, and Miracles for Everyone, where miracles are defined as unexpected and welcome events. So yeah, look, I'm 60 years old. I've got a little baby daughter now and a lovely wife. And so I'm interested in being healthy for the next 20, 30 years so that my little baby girl can enjoy a healthy daddy, who can still run, jump, play, do sports, etc. So I've got Kangoo jumps or exercise rebound shoes, or in fact, rebranded moon boots. They got springs on these boots, and I've been running them since 1994, and it's a great exercise. Even standing still, your core is strengthened because you're balancing on these soles, these spring-loaded soles on your boots. So yeah, so Kangoo jumps or moon boots. There's a few brands now. Aero Power is another one, and anyway, moon boots because we're going to the moon soon. So that keeps me fit and healthy. And, I always joke 5 minutes in the boots is like half an hour in the gym because, it keeps you busy bouncing and hopping and moving and shaking. And you can walk, you can bounce, you can run, you can, all sorts of things. So it's lovely. I love the boots. And then, you are what you eat. And so, organic fruit and vegetable is my passion. Why? Well, nowadays, when you're eating fruit and vegetables, what do they spray onto the fruit and vegetable? What soil did the fruit and vegetable get grown in? It's a bit scary about what we think fruit and vegetable is to us nowadays. You've got to be careful there. So yeah, organic fruit and vegetables. Thank you to all fruit and organic farms on this planet. And to I'll mention Ravi Bola, who's another inspiration for me, and his tower gardens. We've got these tower gardens nowadays where you don't need soil. All you need is electricity and water, and you grow these towers, these vertical towers where you put the seedlings in, and they grow into fruit and vegetables. And again, organic, because you're putting in, well, you're putting nutrients in the water, and the plant thanks to the light, whether it's natural or deliberate, they grow into the lovely fruit and vegetable, very healthy. So again, wealthy and healthy. So yeah, Tara got, what's the website? bit.ly Juice Plus album. And I'll put it in the website. Put it behind me. So that's a health thing. Then there's a company called Sally Ann Ferguson's company, Inner Origin, superfoods. So I'm on the superfoods right now. I have them every day. And again, it's really fruit and vegetables, but anything that's missing that the body goes, oh, thank you, is in these superfoods. So there's a whole bunch of products that Inner Origin make. And Sally Ann is a nutritionist by trade. Well, you know, she's got nutritionist experts. So she came up with some beautiful products, superfoods. And in fact, her website is all about wellness products. So again, I'm a promoter for Inner Origin for all the superfoods that I'm on right now, including Glow, which is the one that really gives your skin elasticity. So all those wrinkles kind of disappear. Very good for the women, apparently. Was it a standing order of the Glow? Oh, because it's very effective. The marine grade peptides. Is that right? Oh, you can hear I'm a bit clumsy with the anyway, all the education is on the Inner Origin website. So that's bit.ly Clever Health. Again, I'll put the website up. So that's another health program. And then here in Dubai, well, Green Heart Farms, organic fruit and vegetables, beautiful. Thank you, Green Heart Farms, wonderful. And I'm looking forward to, Nigerian organic produce as well. So we'll go there as well and introduce Inner Origin to the organic farms in Abuja. All right, wealth, health, abundance, and miracles for everyone. Yeah, look, I guess, for miracles, unexpected and welcome events. Well, if you're trafficking in stuff that you love, if you're making sure that your life on a daily basis includes things that you love or includes things that you're passionate about, miracles will happen. Why? Because you're in the space of, oh my God, that's so good. So, when you're following your passions, miracles will happen simply because you're in the right world, because you're following your passions in life or your purposes in life. Like I mentioned about the Great Discovery educational programs that you can discover yourself. And abundance. Well, look, I'm generous in terms of the more that I can share with everyone, the better it is for everyone. So look, I highly recommend The Great Discovery. I highly recommend Inner Origin. And I highly recommend the Tower Gardens for starters right now in my life. So yeah, I said, I've even got I highly recommend Kylie Mowbray Allen. What a legend she is. Hellomedia.team is her website. But she's a social media expert. And thanks to her, she's really helped us develop a beautiful hero or heroine statement. We nurture people through love and empowerment. Personal development, both online and offline, is our passion, where we share our leadership, build confidence, and make loving recommendations. So yeah, so we recommend a whole bunch of stuff. And so yeah, so you follow Blessing and myself. We'll recommend things that we use and enjoy on a daily basis. And we highly recommend you join our team. Join our team or join our community of wealth, health, abundance, and miracles for everyone. All right. World peace now. Pass it on. We are it. The new space race as a possibility. Bye-bye. So thank you. Thank you very much indeed for watching this legacy video. It's a work in progress. Can always be updated by Alan Sarkisian, the man who's making these legacy videos. And thank you for each and every one of you for watching this legacy. And I guess, the legacy I'd like to share with each and every one of you, and you won't be surprised, is world peace now, pass it on, we are it. I think that, if we can have this world work for everyone with no one and nothing left out, then how exciting the world will be. And, universal travel and space travel and being great with one another and full of love and things like that, that would be lovely. And, I guess, that's a real acknowledgement of my parenting. Mum and Dad were very loving. And so, the possibility of love on this planet would be a real access to world peace now. So thanks so much indeed for watching. And certainly, if you've got any inkling of starting your own legacy video, one of the things that I've discovered about making these legacy videos, the legacy video, is it takes time. You got to think about what you need to communicate with the world before you die. So I've had to go through my life and think about what I need to share or what I'd like to share, such that if I die tomorrow, it's on record. It's online. I wonder if Facebook or Instagram will say, right, after 50 years, you gotta go, mate. You're too old school. And I'm looking I guess one of the legacies that I really like to a request, promises, requests, declarations, and assertions. I request that should my wife and my daughter still be alive, that, in other words, they haven't died with me, but if I'm dead tomorrow, that you support, nurture, and inspire them. And maybe the cutest way of doing that from a legacy point of view is, like I said, my surname is Crawshaw. So Amina Schumann Crawshaw, blessing thye Crawshaw. Crawshaw means crow's wood in Old English. So if you ever hear a crow go, that's what the crows make. That's my mum saying something. And if there's two crows, that's my mum and dad. And if there's more crows, then that's my immediate family. So Uncle Bill and everyone else that of that era. That's the crows. But whenever I hear a crow in Dubai, I get crows squawking at me. Whenever they do, I go. My brother knows I'm. So that's another bird that I grew up in Hong Kong that made that noise, and I love making that noise because it's kind of my reply to the crows going. So whenever you see my wife or my daughter, you could make them smile and go. And it'd be lovely to discover what bird that makes that noise in Hong Kong that I remember so well. My brother will remember it as well. So yeah, there's the legacy of a bird noise. All right, lots of love. World peace now. Pass it on. We are it. The new space race. Thank you. Bye-bye.